Hello there, my name is Luke and welcome to the top 10 most drastic non-league stadium upgrades. This video includes all of the stadiums that I think have had some really impressive upgrades in the last 2 to 3 years. If you enjoy this video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe. We're trying to get to 2,500 by the end of the year, so if you could click subscribe, that would mean an awful amount to me. But without any further ado, let's get straight into it.
So in at number 10 is Hungerford Town of the National League South. They installed a new seated stand in late March 2017 in order for them to comply with the ground regulations to allow them to stay in the National League South. They also made some other little upgrades around the ground, and that allowed them to not get relegated back down to 7th tier essentially in the 2016-17 season. However, their ground grading was not good enough for them to get into the National League South playoffs last year due to them not having enough covered seating. In at number 9 is Bradford Park Avenue, who have installed a new stand behind their goal for the start of the 2016-17 season. So it's been there for a year now. It is called the Bradford Park Avenue Supporters Club stand. Although it's an unsegregated ground and they get quite low attendances, the stand is only for home supporters because apparently there are potential stewarding problems. But look at the size of the stand. It is probably the most unimpressive stadium upgrade I've ever seen. But because of that, I absolutely love it. In at number 8 is Bromley of the National League. Work started on their 3G pitch on the 24th of April 2017 and it was completed in time for the start of the 2017-18 season. As well as their new artificial grass pitch, the club is investing in redeveloping the South Stand, which will create up to an extra 1,450 seats, but that has not started yet, but there are impressive plans for the future. In at number 7 is Eastleigh United. In 2016, work began on a new multi-million pound redevelopment of the stadium with the demolition of the Liam Day stand. The new stand built in its place will house all of the operational and commercial offices as well as hospitality, social facilities and seats for fans as well. So it's not just a regular football stand, it's got a lot of extra stuff as well. In terms of extra stuff, on top of that, there are approved plans to develop the plough end of the stadium, which will accommodate 1,750 supporters on standing terraces, along with an integrated hotel. Does seem like a bit of a strange plan, that, to have a hotel that's sort of overlooking the pitch, but, you know, whatever floats their boat, it could bring in a lot of revenue for the football club. In at number 6 is Dover Athletic, and at their Crabble ground they built their new family stand and it opened in late 2016. It is a 500 seat stand and will provide the club with Football League standard changing rooms for the players and officials, a medical room and a new ground control room. It cost £1.3 million to build, but it does look quite impressive, especially with like the wood structure. I think it's pretty nice. Number 5 is Eastleigh. They opened a new South Stand in December 2014, so going back a little while. That has 2,290 seats and is one of the most impressive stands in the league in my opinion. However, the rest of the ground is not up to the same scratch. In 2016 they did build a new 2-storey building at the north end of the stadium. It's not technically a stand, but it contains a clubhouse, an education room, a boardroom, an executive room, and replaces 2 porter cabins, so it's a pretty big upgrade, that one. Now into number 4, and it is National League North side Darlington. Back in their Football League days, they were playing in the 25,000 capacity all-seater stadium, which was the Darlington Arena. However, they only had average attendances of about 3,000, so it was so expensive and they could not afford to stay there. Eventually the club was demoted 4 divisions down to the 9th tier. They moved and started to ground share with Bishop's Auckland at Heritage Park between 2012 and 2016. They moved finally back to Darlington in late 2016 to Blackwell Meadows, home of Darlington Rugby Club. But Blackwell Meadows needed quite a lot of redevelopment and they have done that. However, their stadium wasn't up to scratch to get into the National League North playoffs last year. They did finish in 5th, but they missed out due to them not having enough seating, the same as Hungerford Town. In at number 3 is Maidstone United, who play at the Gallagher Stadium. They moved in there in 2012. They are famous for having their 3G pitch and a really strong fan base. They pretty much fill most of the stadium every week, hence they've built some new stands in recent years. The first thing that they did was in 2015, they extended the capacity of the main stand. They basically just stretched it out a bit and made it into a capacity of 750 seats. The North End Terrace was built and opened in 2017. That has a capacity of 1,768 and that is fully standing. It's a really, really nice terrace, that one. And the main advantage of their 3G pitch is that it doesn't get affected by weather as much as grass pitches, and it's also used 7 days a week by the local community, so really does feed back into the local area. Now number 2 is AFC Fylde, who moved from Kellermerg Park to Mill Farm ahead of the 2016-17 season. Kellermerg Park was the home for 10 years previous, and they moved in there when they were in the North West Counties League. Mill Farm is a multi-million pound sports village with a stadium of capacity 6,000. It's a very impressive stadium in my opinion, and a very impressive setup all around. They have one of the top sports bars in the country with 20 60-inch screens available to watch multiple different sports. There is an 80-seat restaurant with a roof terrace, a 40-seat cafe, an Aldi supermarket, a Euro Garages petrol station, Sainsbury's local, Greggs and KFC. And this was all built within the last couple of years. Anyway, moving back to a more healthy part than the fast food restaurants, there are several 3G hockey pitches and football pitches surrounding the main stadium. And last but certainly not least, in at number 1 is Salford City. In my opinion, the most impressive stadium upgrade of recent years in non-league. And at the start of last year, so 12 months ago, there was just the main stand and then there was nothing else pretty much around the ground. However, they've built 3 new stands in 2017 and it's brought the stadium up to scratch for the National League North and got them into the playoffs. There was no ground grading problems with them because they've got a very, very impressive ground now. The main stand has now been knocked down and they are building their 4th and final stand to complete the ground, but that is still in progress. The one thing that's impressed me most is the speed at which these stands have come up. The planning permission, the actual building of it, it's all happened in such a short space of time. The previous capacity of the ground was 1,400, yet now just 1 year later, the capacity is 5,000 with 2,000 seats.
And there you have it, that is it for this top 10 countdown. Which do you agree with? Let me know in the comment section down below what you think is the most impressive and which ones have I missed out in this video that really should have been in there. So yeah, if you've enjoyed it, hit that like button and subscribe, and thanks for watching.